Have you ever found yourself sitting in your favorite chair, looking out the window, and thinking about how much life has changed? Maybe it's the grandkids growing up too fast, or the way your neighborhood feels different now. Or perhaps it's something deeper, a shift in your own life that you didn't see coming. If you felt this way, trust me, you're not alone. Change is one of those things we all face, no matter our age. But here's the thing. How we handle those changes can make all the difference in how fulfilling our lives feel. That's what we're going to talk about today, how to handle life's changes with grace and resilience. Now, let's be honest for a moment. When you're younger, change often feels exciting. It's like turning the page of a new chapter in a book. You don't know exactly what's coming, but there's a sense of possibility. But as we grow older, change can sometimes feel more like a challenge than an adventure. Whether it's retirement, health concerns, losing loved ones, or even just adjusting to new technology, these shifts can leave us feeling uncertain or even overwhelmed. And that's okay. It's normal to feel that way. What's important is learning how to navigate these moments so they don't weigh us down, but instead help us grow stronger. In this video, I want to share some practical ways to embrace life's changes with confidence and calmness. These aren't complicated strategies. They're simple, everyday habits and mindsets that anyone can adopt. By the end of this conversation, my hope is that you'll walk away feeling empowered to face whatever comes your way, not just surviving, but thriving. So let's start by talking about the first step, staying connected. You might wonder why staying connected matters so much when it comes to handling change. Well, think about it this way. When life throws curveballs, having a strong support system makes all the difference. Imagine you've just moved into a smaller home after decades in the same house. At first, it might feel strange, almost like you've lost a part of yourself. But what if you had friends who could come over, share stories, and remind you that while the space may be smaller, the memories and relationships are still big and beautiful? Connection gives us perspective. It reminds us that we're not alone, even during the toughest transitions. One of the best ways to stay connected is through meaningful conversations. Now, I'm not talking about small talk, the kind where you ask someone how they are and then barely listen to their answer. No, I mean real, heartfelt conversations. The kind where you sit down with a friend, a family member, or even a neighbor and truly open up. Share what's on your mind, whether it's excitement about a new hobby or frustration about a recent change. And just as importantly, listen to them too. Listening is such a gift, and it strengthens bonds in ways we don't always realize. When you invest time in these kinds of connections, you build a network of people who care about you and who can offer support when you need it most. Another aspect of staying connected is being open to forming new relationships, even at this stage in life. Sometimes, as we get older, we fall into the trap of thinking, "I've already met all the friends I'll ever have." But that's simply not true. Life is full of opportunities to meet new people, whether it's through volunteering, joining a club, or attending community events. For example, maybe you've always enjoyed gardening, but you've never taken the time to join a local garden group. Doing so could introduce you to others who share your passion, and suddenly, you've expanded your circle of friends. New friendships bring fresh energy and perspectives, which can be incredibly uplifting during times of change. Now that we've talked about staying connected, let's move on to another key piece of handling life's changes with grace, focusing on gratitude. Gratitude is one of those things that sounds simple, but its impact is profound. Think back to a moment in your life when things felt tough. Maybe you were dealing with a health issue or grieving the loss of a loved one. Did you find yourself clinging to certain blessings, however small they seemed? Perhaps it was the warmth of the sun on your face during a morning walk, or the laughter of your grandchildren. Those moments of gratitude acted like anchors, grounding you amidst the storm. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or pretending everything is perfect. Far from it. Instead, it's about training your mind to notice the good alongside the difficult. One easy way to do this is by keeping a gratitude journal. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Oh, that's just another trend," hear me out. A gratitude journal doesn't have to be fancy. It can be a plain notebook where you jot down 3 things each day that you're thankful for. They don't have to be monumental. They could be as simple as a delicious cup of coffee or a phone call from an old friend. Over time, this practice rewires your brain to focus more on the positives, helping you navigate change with greater resilience. Of course, gratitude isn't just about writing things down. It's also about expressing it outwardly. Have you ever noticed how good it feels to tell someone, "Thank you for being there for me," or to send a quick note to a neighbor saying, "I appreciate you"? Acts of gratitude like these not only brighten someone else's day, but also reinforce your own sense of connection and purpose. When you acknowledge the goodness around you, it becomes easier to face challenges with a hopeful heart. So far, we've covered two important pieces of handling life's changes: staying connected and practicing gratitude. Both of these tools give you a solid foundation to lean on when the unexpected happens. But there's more to explore. Next, we'll dive into how embracing flexibility can transform the way you approach change. Because let's face it, life rarely goes according to plan, and learning to adapt is one of the greatest skills you can develop. Let's keep going. Flexibility might not be the first word that comes to mind when you think about thriving in your later years, but it's one of the most powerful tools we have for navigating life's twists and turns. Think about it. How many times have you planned something? A family gathering, a vacation, or even just a quiet afternoon, and then watched as things unfolded completely differently than you expected? Maybe the weather didn't cooperate, or someone got sick, or plans fell through at the last minute. In those moments, flexibility becomes your best friend. It's what allows you to pivot, adjust, and still find joy, even when things don't go as planned. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Easier said than done. And you're absolutely right. Flexibility isn't always easy, especially if you've spent decades building routines and habits that feel comfortable and predictable. But here's the thing. Life itself is unpredictable, and the more we resist change, the harder it becomes to move forward. On the other hand, when we embrace flexibility, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. Let me give you an example. Imagine you've been looking forward to spending time with your grandchildren over the holidays, but due to unforeseen circumstances, they can't visit this year. Instead of letting disappointment take over, you could choose to try something new, like hosting a virtual game night or planning a future trip together. By shifting your perspective and being willing to adapt, you turn a potential letdown into an opportunity to create something special. One way to cultivate flexibility is by practicing what I call gentle curiosity. This means approaching changes, not with fear or frustration, but with a sense of wonder and openness. For instance, if you've recently retired and suddenly find yourself with more free time than you're used to, instead of worrying about how to fill the hours, ask yourself, what would I love to explore? Maybe it's picking up a hobby you've always been curious about, like painting or woodworking. Or perhaps it's finally taking that online course you've been eyeing. When you approach change with curiosity rather than resistance, it feels less like a burden and more like an adventure waiting to unfold. Another aspect of flexibility is learning to let go of perfectionism. Now, I know some of you might be shaking your heads, thinking, but I've always prided myself on doing things the right way. And that's wonderful. You've worked hard to build a life full of purpose and dedication. But here's the truth. Holding on to rigid expectations can sometimes hold you back. Life doesn't follow a script, and trying to control every detail only leads to stress and disappointment. Instead, focus on progress over perfection. If you're learning a new skill, celebrate the effort you put in, even if the results aren't exactly what you envisioned. If you're adjusting to a new routine, give yourself permission to stumble a little along the way. Remember, growth often happens outside of our comfort zones, and embracing imperfection is a huge part of that process. Speaking of growth, let's talk about another essential piece of handling life's changes: nurturing your inner strength. Resilience isn't something we're born with. It's something we develop over time, through experiences both big and small. And guess what? You already have so much resilience within you, even if you don't always recognize it. Think about all the challenges you've faced throughout your life, the obstacles you've overcome, the losses you've grieved, the moments when you thought, "I'm not sure I can do this," and yet, somehow, you did. Those experiences have shaped you into the strong, capable person you are today. So how do you tap into that inner strength when life throws another curveball? One way is by reminding yourself of past victories. Take a moment to reflect on a time when you successfully navigated a difficult situation. What qualities helped you get through it? Was it patience? Determination? A willingness to ask for help? Whatever it was, those same qualities are still inside you, ready to be called upon again. Sometimes, simply acknowledging your own resilience can give you the boost you need to face whatever lies ahead. Another way to nurture your inner strength is by prioritizing self-care. Now, I know self-care has become something of a buzzword these days, but hear me out. Self-care isn't just about bubble baths and scented candles, though those can be nice too. It's about taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental well-being so you have the energy and clarity to handle life's ups and downs. For example, staying active, even if it's just a short daily walk, can do wonders for both your body and your mood. Eating nourishing foods, getting enough sleep, and setting aside time for activities that bring you joy are all forms of self-care that strengthen your ability to cope with change. And let's not forget the importance of mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply the practice of being present in the moment without judgment. It sounds simple, but it can make a world of difference when you're facing uncertainty. Instead of getting caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past, mindfulness helps you focus on what's happening right now. There are lots of ways to practice mindfulness, from meditation to deep breathing exercises to simply savoring a cup of tea without distractions. The goal is to create space in your mind where you can respond to challenges calmly and thoughtfully, rather than reacting out of fear or frustration. As we continue exploring how to handle life's changes with grace and resilience, there's one more crucial element we need to discuss: finding meaning in the midst of transition. Change can sometimes feel disorienting, like you've lost your footing or your sense of purpose. But the truth is, every stage of life offers opportunities to discover new sources of fulfillment. Whether it's mentoring younger generations, giving back to your community, or pursuing passions you've set aside, there's always a way to create meaning, no matter where you are in life's journey. Let's dive deeper into that idea next. Finding meaning in the midst of change is like planting seeds in a garden. You might not see the results immediately, but with care and patience, those seeds grow into something beautiful. And let's be honest, finding meaning isn't always easy, especially when life feels unpredictable or overwhelming. But here's the good news. Meaning doesn't have to come from grand gestures or monumental achievements. Often, it's found in the small, everyday moments, the quiet acts of kindness, the connections we nurture, and the passions we pursue. Let's talk about how you can uncover or even create meaning during times of transition. One powerful way to find meaning is by sharing your wisdom with others. Think about all the lessons you've learned throughout your life, the stories, insights, and experiences that have shaped who you are today. These aren't just memories, they're gifts you can pass on to younger generations. Maybe you've been blessed with grandchildren or great-grandchildren who love hearing your stories. Or perhaps you volunteer at a local school or community center, where kids look up to you as a source of guidance and encouragement. Sharing your knowledge doesn't just benefit others, it also reinforces your own sense of purpose. When you see someone light up because of something you've taught them, it reminds you that your life has value, no matter what stage you're in. But mentoring isn't the only way to give back. Volunteering, for example, is an incredible way to make a difference while also enriching your own life. Whether it's helping out at a food bank, walking dogs at an animal shelter, or organizing events for your neighborhood, volunteering connects you to something larger than yourself. It gives you a chance to use your skills and talents to support causes you care about. Plus, it's a wonderful way to meet new people and stay engaged with your community. There's something deeply fulfilling about knowing that your actions, no matter how big or small, are making the world a little brighter. Of course, finding meaning isn't just about giving to others. It's also about nurturing your own passions and interests. Remember that hobby you used to love but haven't had time for in years? Or that dream you put on hold because life got busy? Well, guess what? Now might be the perfect time to revisit it. Maybe it's writing poetry, learning to play the piano, or finally taking that photography class you've always wanted to try. Engaging in activities that spark joy and curiosity helps you stay connected to your inner self, which is essential for navigating change with grace. When you pour energy into things that excite you, you naturally feel more alive and motivated to face whatever comes your way. And here's the thing about pursuing passions: they don't have to lead to anything practical or productive. The goal isn't to become a professional artist or musician, unless that's what you want. The goal is simply to enjoy the process, to lose yourself in the act of creating or learning. That sense of flow, where time seems to disappear and you're fully immersed in the moment, is one of the most rewarding feelings there is. It's also a reminder that life isn't just about checking boxes or meeting expectations. It's about practicing gratitude the journey, wherever it takes you. Another way to find meaning is by embracing gratitude once again, but this time with a slightly different focus. Earlier, we talked about how practicing gratitude helps you notice the good in your life, even during tough times. Now, let's take it a step further and explore how gratitude can help you reframe challenges as opportunities for growth. For instance, imagine you've recently experienced a health setback that requires lifestyle changes. At first, it might feel frustrating or unfair. But what if you shifted your perspective and asked yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Perhaps it inspires you to prioritize your well-being in ways you hadn't before, or maybe it deepens your appreciation for the days when you feel strong and healthy. By reframing difficulties as teachers, you transform them into sources of meaning and resilience. Now, as we wrap up this conversation, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. Handling life's changes with grace and resilience isn't about avoiding discomfort or pretending everything is perfect. It's about showing up for yourself with kindness, courage, and an open heart, even when things feel uncertain. It's about leaning on the people who love you, staying curious about the world around you, and trusting that you have the strength to adapt and thrive. You've already proven time and time again that you're capable of overcoming challenges, and that same resilience will carry you through whatever lies ahead. I hope this conversation has inspired you to think differently about change, not as something to fear, but as an opportunity to grow and discover new facets of yourself. If any of these ideas resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I read every single one, and I'm always encouraged by the wisdom and warmth this community brings. And if you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like it and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more we can explore together, and I'd be honored to have you join me on this journey. Here's to living your best life at any age. Thank you for being here, and remember, you are stronger, wiser, and more capable than you know.